Welcome back to the channel USD Coins, where we dive into the world of rare coins, fascinating finds, and the untold stories behind the treasures that may be hiding in your pocket change right now. If you've ever dreamt of stumbling upon a fortune, or simply love the thrill of coin collecting, today's topic is going to blow your mind. We're talking about a seemingly ordinary coin that has taken the numismatic world by storm, a 1966 Liberty quarter dollar, a piece that under normal circumstances holds a face value of just 25 cents. But here's where things get exciting. Due to a combination of minting errors, historical context, and extremely rare anomalies, there are examples of this coin that collectors and experts alike have appraised at a value of up to $6.5 million. That's right, $6.5 million for one quarter. So grab a seat, get comfortable, and let's explore how something so small could be worth so much. Now, let's set the scene. The year is 1966. The United States is in the midst of cultural upheaval. The country is recovering from the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, the Vietnam War is escalating, and the civil rights movement is in full force. Amid all of this change, the U.S. Mint is facing a crisis of its own: coin shortages, confusion surrounding coin compositions, and a pivotal shift in materials. Just 1 year prior, in 1965, the Mint eliminated the use of 90% silver in quarters and dimes due to rising silver prices and a need to conserve resources. This marked the beginning of what we now know as the clad coinage era. Instead of silver, quarters were now being produced with a copper core sandwiched between two layers of copper nickel. It was a necessary move, but one that caused no small amount of confusion, experimentation, and, most importantly, mistakes at the Mint. As the Mint transitioned to this new composition, numerous anomalies began to surface: planchet errors, double strikes, off-center impressions, incorrect dies, and even coins being struck on leftover silver planchets. These errors, especially those produced during transitional years like 1966, have become prized by collectors. They're rare, they're fascinating, and in some cases, they're worth more than anyone could have imagined. And at the center of this storm sits the 1966 Liberty quarter, a coin that seems unassuming at first glance but holds a world of secrets beneath its surface. One of the most remarkable aspects of the 1966 quarter is its potential to be a transitional error. Transitional errors occur when a coin is struck using materials or dies from a different year, usually due to human error or mishandling of equipment. For example, a 1966 quarter struck on a silver planchet leftover from 1964 is an extraordinarily rare find. It's believed that a very limited number of these were produced when old silver planchets accidentally made their way into the presses. This type of error is almost impossible to detect without proper tools because the silver and clad quarters look similar to the untrained eye. But when weighed on a precise scale, the difference becomes clear. A standard clad quarter weighs 5.67 grams, while a silver quarter weighs about 6.25 grams. That seemingly tiny difference in weight can mean a fortune to the right collector. Then there are the striking errors. One of the most coveted is the double strike, in which a coin is struck twice by the die, usually due to a failure in the ejection mechanism. The result is a coin with overlapping images, distorted text, or misaligned impressions. These aren't just visual curiosities, they're evidence of a moment when the machinery failed, and the Mint let something slip through the cracks. For 1966 quarters, double strikes are especially prized when they involve significant rotation between the two strikes or when both the obverse and reverse show evidence of doubling. Each double strike is unique, making every example a one-of-a-kind collector's piece. Another major point of interest is the so-called off-metal error. This happens when a coin is struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination. Imagine finding a 1966 quarter that was accidentally struck on a dime planchet, smaller, lighter, and missing part of the design. These off-metal errors are incredibly rare, but they have been documented and authenticated in various coins from the era. The value of such an error depends on several factors, including the degree of misalignment, the type of incorrect planchet, and the clarity of the strike. A well-preserved off-metal 1966 quarter could easily command tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. Let's not forget the mintmark mystery. In 1965, 1966, and 1967, the U.S. Mint made a controversial decision to remove mintmarks from all coins in an effort to discourage coin hoarding during the coin shortage crisis. That means that all quarters from these years should not have a mintmark. However, some 1966 quarters have been found with a D or S mark, Denver or San Francisco. These are believed to be the result of rogue minting errors, possibly struck from old dies or produced unofficially. Such examples are extremely controversial and rare, leading to intense debate among experts. But if authentic, these mint-marked 1966 quarters are among the most valuable coins in existence, not only due to their rarity but also because of the story they tell about a chaotic time in the mint's history. We also need to consider die variety errors. These include double dies, repunched mintmarks, and hub doubling. A double die occurs when the coin die itself was struck twice in slightly different positions during its creation. This means every coin struck from that die will carry the same doubled features, often visible in the lettering, numbers, or profile of Washington's bust. In 1966 quarters, double die errors are particularly rare, but not unheard of. When discovered, they tend to feature doubling in areas like the word liberty or the date. These varieties are incredibly appealing to collectors because they are the result of die production errors, meaning multiple examples can exist and be studied. Another layer to the story is condition and grading. A 1966 quarter in average circulated condition is worth face value, 25 cents. But in uncirculated, pristine condition, particularly if certified by a trusted grading company like PCGS or NGC, the value increases exponentially. Coins graded MS 67 or higher are especially sought after because they represent the top tier of preservation, showing no signs of wear and exhibiting strong luster and detail. Combine this condition with a known error, like a double strike or off-metal planchet, and suddenly you have a coin that is not just valuable, but a showstopper. One legendary specimen, rumored to have sold in private auction for over $6.5 million, exhibits multiple anomalies. According to reports from numismatic insiders, this coin was struck on a 90% silver planchet, featured a partial double strike, and displayed faint traces of a mint mark, believed to be a misused or reactivated die from the Denver Mint. The coin's surfaces were immaculate, earning it a near-perfect grade, and it had full, crisp detail on Washington's bust and the eagle on the reverse. The rarity, combined with condition, and the mystique of its origins all contributed to the jaw-dropping price tag. While many collectors will never lay eyes on this exact coin, its existence has inspired a frenzy of interest in all 1966 quarters, as hobbyists comb through their change in hopes of finding something similar. What's particularly thrilling about the 1966 quarter story is that it represents a perfect storm of factors: a transitional period at the mint, technological inconsistencies, experimental materials, political pressure, and evolving coin design standards. All of these variables created an environment ripe for mistakes that, decades later, are now treasures. It's a reminder that even in the world of mass production, anomalies happen, and in the right context, they can become historic artifacts, but the story doesn't stop with the errors. Let's talk briefly about how these coins are authenticated and valued. Not every 1966 quarter with a weird look or feel is a $1 million gem. There are fakes, post-mint alterations, and damaged coins that sometimes fool even seasoned hobbyists. That's why expert authentication is so crucial. Reputable grading services don't just assess a coin's condition, they verify its metal content, weight, strike characteristics, and historical context. The process is meticulous, involving magnification, advanced imaging, spectral analysis, and even sound testing to confirm authenticity. Once verified, a coin's value is determined by the marketplace. Auction houses, private collectors, museums, and investors all play a role in setting prices. A coin with a unique error, a high grade, and a compelling backstory can ignite bidding wars that push its price into the millions. And in the case of the rare 1966 Liberty Quarter we're discussing today, that's exactly what happened. A combination of myth, mystery, and material value collided to create one of the most expensive error coins ever documented. So, what should you do if you think you found a rare 1966 quarter? First, don't clean it. That's rule number 1. Cleaning can scratch the surface and instantly reduce the value. Second, weigh the coin with a digital gram scale. If it's closer to 6.25 grams, you might have a silver planchet. Next, inspect it under magnification for signs of doubling, mint marks, or unusual textures. And finally, get it into the hands of a professional, preferably one affiliated with a major grading service. Because who knows? You just might be holding your own little piece of numismatic history. Today, we're diving into one of the most intriguing and controversial stories in the numismatic world, the mystery of the 1981 Liberty Quarter Dollar. Yes, a coin with a face value of just 25 cents, but rumored to be valued at over $5.5 million because of its extraordinary minting errors and the intrigue surrounding its production. Is it myth? Is it misunderstood? Or is it truly one of the most valuable coins ever to be struck by the US Mint due to rare, possibly unique mistakes that slipped through the cracks of history? So, settle in and join us as we uncover every known detail, theory, and error related to the 1981 quarter, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors, appraisers, and historians alike. This is a story of precision, imperfection, and the curious combination of circumstance and chance that can transform ordinary change into priceless treasure. Let's begin with some context. The 1981 quarter dollar, like other quarters of its era, features the iconic portrait of George Washington on the obverse, designed by John Flanagan. This design has graced the quarter since 1932 and is instantly recognizable across generations. The reverse features the familiar heraldic eagle, perched on a bundle of arrows, with olive branches beneath, a symbolic representation of America's strength and desire for peace. In 1981, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins, more than 600 million, in fact. On the surface, nothing about these coins seems particularly unusual. Most people would consider them just another coin in their pocket change, but among this massive production run, something remarkable happened. A coin, or possibly a very small batch, was minted with a combination of errors so unusual and so profound that it has elevated at least one known example to legendary status. It's this coin that we're going to dissect in detail. The 1981 Liberty Quarter that allegedly sold, or has been valued at, over $5.5 million due to its complex array of minting mistakes. So, what makes a quarter from 1981 so special? To answer that question, we have to understand what numismatists, coin collectors and researchers, look for when evaluating coins for rarity and value. In the world of coin collecting, the most valuable pieces tend to fall into a few broad categories: coins with extremely low mintage numbers, coins with unusual historical significance, and coins with major minting errors. And it's that last category where the 1981 quarter enters the conversation. The Philadelphia Mint in 1981 was an extremely busy operation. The early 1980s were marked by high coin production to meet the needs of a growing economy. With billions of coins being produced annually across all denominations, quality control was always a concern. Most errors were caught, but not all. Some slipped through. And the more dramatic the error, and the fewer coins that exhibit that error, the more valuable the coin becomes. In the case of the 1981 quarter, reports indicate that it exhibits not just one, but multiple significant errors. The most widely circulated story is that one of these coins features a dramatic double die obverse. That means that during the minting process, the coin was struck more than once by improperly aligned dies, causing a doubling of the design features, particularly noticeable in the date, the word liberty, and the motto, "In God We Trust." Double die errors can be subtle or dramatic, but in the case of the 1981 quarter, the doubling is said to be very prominent, so much so that it can be seen clearly without magnification. That alone could make the coin valuable. But that's only the beginning. Some numismatic reports describe this coin as having a second major error, a misaligned die strike. This occurs when the obverse and reverse dies are not properly aligned, leading to a coin that appears off-center or distorted. In some examples, this can create a crescent-shaped blank area on the coin, or a warped, skewed appearance that sets it apart from standard strikes. Others claim that the same coin also features a partial collar strike. The collar is the part of the coin press that helps form the coin's edge and ensure it remains round. If the collar is misaligned or missing during the strike, it can result in a coin with a partial or distorted rim, sometimes creating a railroad rim effect, which resembles the ridges of a train track. This type of error is rarer still when found in combination with other major errors. Then there are accounts of an incorrect planchet being used, a planchet being the blank metal disc from which a coin is made. Normally, quarters are struck on copper nickel-clad planchets, but there are rare instances where a planchet meant for another denomination, like a dime, penny, or even a foreign coin, might be used by mistake. In this scenario, the coin may weigh differently than standard quarters, have a different coloration, or even present unusual sound and texture when handled, and if that wasn't enough, some descriptions of this ultra-rare 1981p quarter suggest that it may have been struck using proof dies on a business strike press. Proof dies are specially prepared to produce coins with mirror-like surfaces and frosted details, normally reserved for limited edition proof coins. When these dies are used accidentally on standard production lines, the result can be a hybrid coin with unique characteristics, sharper details, glossier fields, and frosted devices not typically found on regular circulation coinage. Now, let's talk about the mint mark. The P mint mark signifies that the coin was minted in Philadelphia. Interestingly, 1980 was the first year that the Philadelphia Mint began using a P mint mark on quarters. Before then, Philadelphia coins were struck without a mint mark, making the P mark on a 1981 quarter still relatively new at the time. For that reason, coins from these early years with significant errors and the P mint mark carry added historical weight. They serve as a bridge between the old tradition of mint mark omission and the newer standard of inclusion. In the case of this alleged $5.5 million specimen, it's been suggested that the mint mark itself might have been mispunched, repunched, or even doubled, another possible layer of complexity and value. A repunched mint mark occurs when the mint mark is applied to the die more than once in slightly different positions. Collectors value such errors because they demonstrate a rare lapse in the usually rigorous standards of the minting process. So now we have a coin with multiple high-profile errors: double die, misaligned die, partial collar strike, wrong planchet, proof-like appearance, and mint mark anomalies. Each of these errors on its own would make a coin valuable. Together, they make the coin something else entirely. A unicorn in the numismatic world. A coin that should not exist, but somehow does. But this is where things start to get even more interesting and controversial. Some skeptics question whether such a coin actually exists. No major grading service, like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, has publicly certified a 1981p quarter with all these described errors combined. There are certainly 1981p quarters with individual errors certified and sold, sometimes fetching hundreds or thousands of dollars depending on the severity and rarity of the mistake. But a coin combining all these errors and being valued at over $5 million is almost mythical in its rarity, and yet, stories persist. Some sources claim that a single known example was purchased by a private collector, who keeps it in a high-security vault. Others suggest that the coin changed hands in a quiet private sale, avoiding the spotlight of major auction houses, which often publish detailed records of such transactions. This has led to wild speculation among collectors and enthusiasts. Could there be more out there? Are there other examples waiting to be discovered in circulation? Could someone unknowingly be holding a fortune in their pocket change? These questions fuel the mystery and allure of the 1981p Liberty Quarter. It's become something of a holy grail for coin hunters. People now scour their change, examine coin rolls, and bid on unsearched lots online, hoping to be the next person to uncover an undiscovered example. And this brings us to a larger point about coin collecting. Coins like the 1981p Liberty Quarter are more than just money. They're historical artifacts. Each one carries with it the story of its time, the industrial process of its creation, and in rare cases like this, the flaws that make them stand out from the billions of other coins that pass through the same machines. To understand why such coins are so valuable, we must also appreciate the psychology of collecting. Scarcity breeds value. When a coin exists in only one or two known examples, and when those examples feature impossible combinations of errors, it becomes almost priceless in the eyes of collectors. It's no longer just about the metal or the face value. It becomes a conversation piece, a centerpiece, a trophy. Something that, if authenticated and certified, could become the crown jewel of any collection. Of course, this also invites caution. Where there's money to be made, there are fakes. Coins with artificially added errors, altered mint marks, and manipulated surfaces have been known to fool even experienced collectors. That's why, in the world of high-value numismatics, authentication by a respected third-party grading service is critical. The coin's value rests not only in its uniqueness but in the trust that it is exactly what it appears to be.